Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Today I will be guiding you through a gentle yoga sequence and we'll finish off our practice with a 5-minute meditation. If you could have a block, cushion, or even a rolled up blanket, that would be really helpful for today's practice. And we'll be focusing on our theme of Ahimsa, which is Sanskrit for nonviolence. And there are many forms of Ahimsa that we could discuss, but I wanted to focus on subtle violence that we may be putting onto ourselves, such as excess amounts of stress, worrying, and dissociation. At the moment, we are faced with more uncertainty than we are probably used to or maybe comfortable with. Our experiences are unique from one another, but it's important to remember that there are many ways we can find support for ourselves and for each other. In today's practice, we will be finding stillness within in the present moment by using our senses. If we can find stillness and learn to stay in the present moment, we can cultivate peace and resilience and remind ourselves that we are much more than the stories we tell ourselves. I will be offering variations throughout class, but please be extra kind to yourself and listen to your body, especially if something doesn't feel right. Okay, whenever you're ready, go ahead and find a nice comfortable seat where your hips can be higher than your knees. So whether that's sitting up on your block, pillow, or rolled up blanket. And you can allow your hands to rest very softly onto your lap and start to find a nice tall spine. So whether that means moving from side to side to find comfort in the hips so that your tall spine can grow all the way to the crown of your head. And then you can go ahead and close down your eyes. And just taking a few deep breaths here. Just really allowing yourself to come to your practice, into this moment. To allow yourself to sit within your own body. And to remember that the practice of yoga is much more than just the poses that we make, but it's the time and space we give ourselves to come back into our bodies. And so when you're ready, we'll start with some gentle head rolls. So on your next exhale, go ahead and allow your right ear to softly come closer towards your right shoulder. So finding length through the left side of your neck. And just noticing any sensations you might feel in this shape. And then on your next inhale, bringing the head back up to center. And as you exhale, the left ear comes towards the left shoulder. Again, feeling the length on the right side of your neck now. Noticing perhaps any differences between the two sides. And then when you're ready, allowing the head to roll gently so your chin comes towards your chest. Feeling the length on the back of your neck. And then when you're ready, your head gently rolls so that the right ear comes towards the right shoulder. And then continuing, if it feels comfortable, allowing the head to dip very gently back, opening up through the throat. And then allowing your left ear to come towards the left shoulder. Your chin coming towards your chest. Right ear to right shoulder. Opening up through the throat. And continuing very gently, circling the head. And perhaps noticing any sensations or feelings that might arise in the body as you move. And really taking your time here, moving as slow as you can. And then when you're ready, go ahead and move in the opposite direction. And notice if there are any differences in this movement. Listening to your body and reading the information that it's giving to you through sensations, emotions, feelings. And then when you're ready, know that there's no rush at all. If something feels good for you, please stay. But when you feel ready, go ahead and bring the head back up towards center, finding again a nice tall spine. So go ahead and interlace your hands behind your back, making a fist. And as you inhale, allowing your chest and your heart to reach forward, lifting up towards the sky, and your fist reaching down towards the earth. And then as you exhale, go ahead and place your fist on your right hip. And then allow your right ear to come down towards your right shoulder. And what we're doing here is really finding a deeper length down the left side of your neck, all the way down to your shoulder, and perhaps even the left side of your arm as well. And so staying here for a few breaths. Each exhale you take a chance to release any heaviness or tightness in this part of your body. And coming back towards center, reaching your chest up towards the sky, take a breath in. And so as you exhale, your fist coming towards your left hip, so switching sides here. And allowing your left ear to come softly down towards your left shoulder. And just going as far as feels comfortable. A space where you can still breathe but find sensation down the right side of your neck, down the shoulder, and perhaps even the arm as well. And when you feel ready, coming back towards center, your heart rises up, fist reaching down towards the earth. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, go ahead and release, bringing your hands back towards your lap. Half salutation as you breathe in, reaching your arms up towards the sky. As you exhale, hands return down through prayer, down your midline to your heart. Taking a breath here. And then as you exhale, go ahead and interlace your hands behind your head, allowing the elbows to be quite far apart. On your next inhale, allowing your chest again to rise up, arching into the spine, opening up through the throat. And then as you exhale, start to curl into the chest, so elbows coming in closer to one another, tucking the chin towards your chest. Sitting cat and cows. As you breathe in, opening up through the heart, the elbows opening up through the throat. And then as you exhale, curling back into the body, elbows coming closer together, tucking the chin towards your chest. Taking one more round at your own pace, really allowing that breath to fill into the lungs, the chest, your heart. And then as you exhale, allowing that breath to release out any heaviness or tightness within the body. And go ahead and stay here for just a breath where your chin is coming towards your chest, elbows closer together. And take 3 full breaths here, really allowing that breath to rise towards the back body. And start to observe without any judgment, any sensations, thoughts, or feelings that might arise. And when you're ready, coming back towards center, releasing your hands towards your lap. Half salutation again as you breathe in, reaching your arms overhead. And as you exhale, bring your hands to prayer by your heart. Taking a breath in, lengthening the spine, stay heavy in the hips. And as you exhale, start to twist from your heart to the right side of your mat. And then from here, you can stay again, find a space that feels comfortable where you can still breathe but find sensation. Or if you want to go even deeper, perhaps your left hand comes on the outside of your right knee and your right hand can come just behind you, just to allow a deeper twist into the body. Taking a breath into the twist. And then as you exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper. Your next breath in, coming towards center, hands back in prayer by your heart. And then as you exhale, go ahead and switch sides, allowing the heart to come to a twist towards the left side of your mat. And again, you can stay here if this feels right for you. Taking a breath into the twist. And as you exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper. And your next inhale, coming back towards center, hands coming back to prayer. And then go ahead and reach your arms out in front of you, bringing your hands into a fist. And go ahead and just start doing a couple rolls with your wrists. Doesn't matter which way you want to start your circles. Just starting to warm up into the wrists, feeling into the forearms, the elbows, the shoulders. And then from here, go ahead and place your hands just in front of you onto your mat. And then start to walk your fingertips farther out so you're coming into a forward fold over your feet. Again, just go as far as feels comfortable for you. Taking a breath into the back body. And as you exhale, letting it go. And taking 2 more full deep breaths into the body. Each exhale, a chance to let go for just a moment. Good. And when you are ready, no rush. We'll slowly find our way onto our hands and knees for a few rounds of cat and cow. If you feel uncomfortable with your wrists, you can go ahead and try coming onto your fists, and that'll help protect the wrists. From here, go ahead and just make sure that your shoulders are just on top of your wrists or your hands, and your hips in a straight line down to your knees. Pulling the belly button closer towards the spine to engage the core. And as you inhale, start to find an arch into the spine, opening up through the heart. Your eye gaze might lift up towards the sky. And as you exhale, doming into the chest, pressing your hands down, allowing the head to drop down. Breathing in, opening up through the heart, finding space between the ears and the shoulders as you start to gaze up. And as you exhale, doming into the chest, tucking your tail under as you allow the neck to relax down. Take a few more rounds here at your own pace. Moving as slow as feels comfortable. And then perhaps adding any movement that feels right for your body. So whether that's the swaying of the hips from side to side, or coming into gentle circles with the upper body to feel into the hands and wrists. Really a chance here to dive deeper inwards into the body. And then when you feel ready, we will meet in a child's pose. So touching your big toes together and taking your knees as wide as feels comfortable. And then walking your fingertips towards the front of your mat as your hips come closer towards your heels. If you are finding that the tops of your feet are not comfortable in this shape, you can go ahead and come onto the tippy toes. And so the hips you might find are a little bit higher, but that's okay as long as you can find length through the spine. Forehead touching your mat. Taking a few deep breaths here into the belly. And so as you breathe in, allowing the belly to reach towards the earth. And as you exhale, allow the belly to return back into your body. Just taking one more breath here. And then at your own time, coming back onto your hands and knees. Again, just allowing that belly button to reach towards the spine. So we're really engaging the core here. So we're going to bring a little bit of heat into the body. And then start to reach your right leg or your right foot towards the back of your mat. And just take a moment here. You want to feel that your hip bones are facing towards the earth. So again, the core will be turned on here, keeping that right leg nice and engaged. So strong right leg here. And then if you would like, you can reach your left arm towards the front of your mat. And so finding balance here. It's okay if you fall, no dramas, just come back. And then when you're ready, go ahead and place your right knee and your left hand back down onto the mat. And let's go ahead and switch sides together. So left foot or left leg reaching towards the back of your mat, finding stability here, knowing you can stay. Or if you'd like to try reaching your right arm forward, noticing perhaps one side might feel a little bit different. And when you're ready, coming back towards your hands and knees. And then when you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. So as you breathe in, finding that length of the right leg, reaching back. Perhaps the left arm is reaching forward. And then as you exhale, placing that hand and knee back. Breathing in, switching sides. And as you exhale, coming back. And just taking a few rounds here, just playing around with building heat and balance in the body. If you'd like to go deeper, you can try playing around by see if you can touch your elbow and your knee together. So really rounding into the body, turning on the core. And wherever you are, just taking about 2 more rounds. And then when you are ready, let's go ahead again, meet in a child's pose. Just taking time off of our wrists, allowing ourselves to find more length into the spine and perhaps noticing if you can go deeper now into the shape. And then when you're ready, go ahead and walk your fingertips back in so you can sit onto the knees and the feet. And we'll go ahead and step our right foot forward. So we're coming into a low lunge here. And then see if you can tuck your left toes underneath you. Okay, and then from here, go ahead and sweep your arms up towards the sky as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, placing your right hand on top of your right knee and your left hand on top of your right hand. And then go ahead and press down into your right knee with your hands. And then see if you can squeeze your inner thighs closer to one another and find a scissoring action with the legs, meaning the left hip wants to draw forward as the right hip wants to draw back. What we're doing here is finding strength into the hips and finding a neutral alignment with our hips. Again, so really finding strength into the legs so that we're not sinking too deep into the joints. And then once you feel strong, as you breathe in, reach your arms back up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, drop your right hand down and reach your left arm up and over towards the right side of your mat. So finding a slight extension into the left side of the body. Again, doesn't matter how far you go, as long as you can breathe deeply and find an opening into the left side of your body. Coming back towards center as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, place your hands onto your mat, either stepping into a high plank or allow the knee to come back towards your left knee so we can just simply switch sides. So left foot towards the front of your mat, however you want to get there, dropping your right knee down. As you breathe in, reaching your arms up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, placing your left hand on top of your left knee and your right hand on top of your left hand. And you can start to press your hands down onto your knee as you squeeze your hips in a scissoring action. So this time the right hip wants to draw forward, the left hip draws back. Squeezing the inner thighs together so you can grow a little bit taller into the spine. So this might mean that we're not sinking too deep into the hips, but rather we're backing off the hips a little bit just so we can find some strength into our hips, our pelvic floor, and our legs. As you breathe in, reach your arms up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, left hand reaches down, right arm reaches up and over, finding extension and length into the right side of the body. And again, start to notice if one side feels different. There's no judgment, but learning new things about yourself. And so for me, the right side feels a little bit tighter. So that means I might back off a little bit so I can breathe deeper and find extra space into this body. And your next inhale, coming back towards center. And then as you exhale, placing your hands onto your mat and either stepping onto a high plank or allowing that knee again to touch the mat. And then from here, go ahead and find downward facing dog. So lifting your hips up towards the sky. Allowing your hands to be nice and flat towards the mat. So notice if you're finding space in the palm. See if you can press down through the knuckles. It's almost a feeling of pushing away from the floor so that you can find extension through the arms and all the way up the spine as your hips are reaching up towards the sky. Don't worry if the heels of your feet do not touch the mat. Mine do not. So I stay high on my tippy toes and keep a soft bend into my knees, and that way I can be a bit more friendlier towards the backs of my legs. And so we're not forcing our body into our shapes that perhaps we're not quite ready for, but we're finding a space of comfort so that we can allow ourselves to find the time and the space to breathe. And to know that there's really nothing we have to change. Rather, it's knowing that we can accept already our inner wisdom, our authentic and divine self. And so as you stay here in your downward facing dog, either in stillness or perhaps in movement, if it feels good to shake your hips from side to side, just allowing your breath to remain flowing and constant. An organic flow throughout the body. Noticing which parts within that expand and contract as you breathe. And you're welcome to stay here as long as you like. But when you feel ready, you can take your eye gaze towards your fingertips, have a soft bend into your knees, and then start to walk your feet towards the front of your mat. Coming into a gentle forward fold here. Again, if it's the beginning of the day or if you're feeling rather tight in the backs of your legs, like I often do, I like to keep quite a heavy bend into my knees to start. And so that might mean my belly touches my thighs, but at least that way I can find length through my spine without compromising my lower back. Again, so soft bend into the knees if that feels good for you. An option to grab a hold of opposite elbows or sway from side to side, releasing any tension, perhaps that is resting within the back body. Again, remember to allow the breath to remain constant. And notice as you breathe if you can create space so that perhaps the legs begin to very gently straighten. And when you're ready, coming into center, allowing your hands to relax down towards the earth if you have a hold of your elbows. Press firmly down through your feet and then start to roll the spine gently towards standing, pulling the belly in towards your back body, and that way it helps protect the lower back. Taking your time here, there's no rush. When you do find yourself into a standing position, perhaps just taking a few rolls into the shoulder, shake off any stagnant energy, shake out the legs. And we'll come into our next shape, which is tree pose. So when you're ready, I'll go ahead and face you on my video, but you can stay just facing the front of your mat. You can start to bring the right knee in towards your stomach, pressing down through the left foot. And then from here, start to open up through the right hip. You want your hip bones to stay facing towards the front of your mat. So don't worry too much if that hip doesn't go out very far. It really doesn't have to. And so you can place your right foot either on your ankle or perhaps your inner thigh, really anywhere along the leg, as long as it's not on the knees. The knees don't really like to go sideways. Or perhaps even you want to take your toes and just touch them gently on the earth if you want more support. I like to start with my hands in prayer, and then once I feel quite strong in my legs, I can start to reach my fingertips up towards the sky as if I'm growing with nature, growing with the trees. Noticing the wobbles and the movements of your body. A friendly reminder of our aliveness. And just remember, if you do fall, no dramas, just come back. No big deal. Allowing your eye gaze to focus on a singular point to help your balance. And perhaps notice what sensations you can find here as you ground down through your left foot. Growing tall through the left leg, up the spine, the crown of the head, and the fingertips. What sensations, what feelings can you gather here? And just taking one more breath. And when you're ready, go ahead and release down, shake out the legs if you need to. And let's go ahead and switch sides. So left knee comes in towards the stomach, opening up through the left hip. And then placing your left foot, again, either in the ankle or up in the inner thigh. Or perhaps it feels more comfortable to have the toes touching your mat. And one side might feel different, so you don't have to take the same variation. And I like to bring my hands into prayer just to start. And then when I feel ready, I'll reach my fingertips up towards the sky and grow majestically like the trees. Noticing if one side feels a little bit different. Grounding down through the right foot so you can grow tall through the right leg, up the spine, crown of the head, and finally up the arms through the fingertips. And what a beautiful reminder of when we can find a sense of grounding into the body, grounding in our life, things begin to blossom and begin to grow. So noticing any sensations or feelings as you begin to feel yourself lifting up from the spine all the way up towards the sky. And just taking one more breath here. And when you're ready, go ahead and come back towards center. You can shake out your legs, your arms, have a bit of a dance party for a second. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring your feet about hip width distance, just to start. toes very slightly turned in. And we're going to come into our chair pose. So sitting your hips nice and low, bending into the knees, arms reaching up towards the sky. Perhaps if it's comfortable for you, around the same height as your ears. And then see if you can observe, not by looking, but just feeling, if there is what I call a banana back within the back body. And if you are feeling that you are arching into your spine, see if you can hug your front ribs very slightly into the body. Nothing too strong, just make sure you can still breathe. And that way you can start to round into the chest and tuck the tailbone underneath you, lengthening the lower back. Using the strength in our legs and our glutes to sit a little bit lower, fingertips reaching up towards the sky. Taking 2 more deep breaths here. Good, and then when you're ready, as you exhale, start to sit a little bit deeper. If you need support, you can bring your hands down towards your mat. We're eventually going to make our way onto our seat and lying onto our back. And so however you want to get there, whether it's taking your time and really engaging the legs and the glutes, or of course, if you would rather just sit yourself down and come lying onto your backs, that's totally okay. And so setting yourself up for bridge pose, soles of the feet onto your mat so your knees are up towards the sky. And just take a moment to make sure that your feet are about hip width distance. If you have a block, a really good indicator of having your hips in line is to place a block in between your knees. So whether that is on the skinniest side or the second side, whichever feels the most comfortable for you. Toes pointing forward. Notice if the toes are pointing out. And when you're ready, go ahead and just take your fingertips and just slide them underneath your lower back just for a second. And start to notice this space here. And go ahead and take your hand out. And so think about that space. Sometimes I like to imagine little marshmallows underneath my back. And as I come up into my bridge pose, I want to squeeze down onto those marshmallows. So I want to squish them down. So through the rolling of the hips, lifting your hips up towards the sky, squishing your marshmallows as you come up. And that'll help find length through the lower back. So pressing down through the feet, hands by your sides. Engaging the glutes as you lift your hips a little bit higher. And then from here, you can either interlace your hands behind your back, shimmy those shoulders underneath you, and you might find a little bit more lift into the front side of your body. And don't forget to breathe. And just taking 3 more full breaths here, just allowing ourselves to release the front side of our body. And this is a really great pose to take, especially if you're finding that you are sitting a lot for most of the day. So allowing ourselves to find a sense of release through the front side of the body and gaining strength through the back side of our body. And so when you're ready, you can go ahead and release your hands if they are interlaced and start to roll your spine down and really taking your time here, 1 vertebrae at a time, squishing those marshmallows on your way down. And then allowing those marshmallows to find space again as you allow yourself to find the natural curvature of your spine. And go ahead and stay here for just a few breaths, just to allow our spine to come back to its natural alignment. And we will be taking this shape 2 more times, just so we can gain strength through the back body and release through the front. And so when you're ready, go ahead and find yourself up back into your bridge, making sure you're releasing that space through that lower back, so squishing your marshmallows as you lift your hips up towards the sky. And just taking a few breaths here, noticing where the breath resides, whether it's at the base of your throat, the heart, or the belly. And taking whatever variation feels right for you. So whether it's interlacing your hands behind your back, shimmy your shoulders underneath you, or perhaps a more restorative shape that I can offer you is allowing your arms to reach up and overhead. And when you're ready, slowly making your way down, one vertebrae at a time, squishing those little marshmallows, and then finding the natural curvature of your spine. And then when you're ready, we've got one more round at your own pace, your own variation. This time, if you would like to place a pillow or a block underneath your hips for extra support, if you feel like you don't want to use as much strength, please go ahead and do so. And so always moving away from any discomfort of your practice and moving towards the comfort. And when you are ready, slowly making your way down with control, one vertebrae at a time. And then from here, you can either sway the knees from side to side, just finding any release if you need to. And then when you are ready, we'll come into our inversion practice. And today we will be taking Viparita Karani, which literally translates to legs up on the wall. So if you are close to a wall, you can go ahead and just take your legs up there. But if you want a little bit more fire into the practice, you can go ahead and just straighten your legs, feet reaching up towards the sky, and perhaps a very soft bend into the knees if you start to notice that you are finding any shakiness in the body. You can either stay here or perhaps find a bit more height by placing your rolled up blanket, pillow, or block underneath the hips. And so option to stay here, just allowing the legs to gently float in space. Or sometimes I always like to also reach my fingertips up towards the sky. And just feel my physical body in the environment, the space, the reality that we are in. And just taking a few more breaths here. Here we're really just allowing the blood to flow the opposite direction, since we do spend most of our time the other way. And when you are ready, you can go ahead and slowly remove any props that you might have had underneath your hips. And then go ahead and hug your knees in towards your chest. Give yourselves that warm embrace. Perhaps rock from side to side if that feels soothing. And then keeping your right knee towards your chest, lengthening that left leg down towards the mat. We're going to come into a gentle twist. So your hips might sway to the right side of your mat as you carry the right knee over the body, lengthening the right arm out towards the side of your mat. And you want to see if you can focus on allowing both shoulders to touch the ground. So it's not as important for that knee to touch the mat, but you'll find a deeper twist by allowing the shoulders to stay grounded, and then carry the knee over as much as feels comfortable. And taking deep breaths into your twist. Each exhale, really a chance to just let go. Noticing any sensations coming through the body. Observing any thoughts that might be coming through the mind. No judgment to any sensations, feelings, or thoughts you might be having, but observing and listening from a place of true compassion, remembering that your physical body is your friend. And when you're ready, coming towards center, and go ahead and switch sides, left knee in towards your chest, lengthening out through the right. Perhaps the hips might sway to the left as you carry the left knee over the body, lengthening out through the left arm. Again, just making sure that the shoulders can stay grounded. Noticing if one side feels a little bit different. And when you feel ready, coming back towards center, hugging your knees in towards your chest, and then taking happy baby. So reaching for either your shins, your ankles, or the outsides of the feet. And you want your knees to be on the outside of your arms. You want to find length through the spine, so don't worry too much if you can't reach for the outsides of your feet. But rather find length through the spine, allowing the hips to drop down, and perhaps the fingertips reach for the shins rather than the outsides of your feet. Staying in stillness or a gentle sway from side to side. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and come into our final resting shape, Shavasana. So lengthening out through the arms, the legs, take as much space as you want. And just really allowing your body to rest. Allow your mind to rest. And feeling your physical body connecting with the earth. And finding your rest here just for a few minutes. And just know that I'll be here to slowly awaken you. And you're welcome to stay for as long as you'd like. And when you feel ready to begin wiggling your toes and fingertips, or perhaps taking a few deep breaths into the body, noticing how the body reawakens with your breath. And keeping your eyes closed, perhaps finding one last final stretch as if you've just awoken for the morning, reaching your arms overhead. And then slowly rolling to one side of your body that feels the best. And curling your knees into your chest and resting your head in your arms. And then very slowly, with your eyes closed, if that feels okay, pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat. And finding a tall spine here as you continue to breathe. And together we will join in Samavriti Pranayama, which is counted breathing. Let's go ahead and clear our breath first. Take a breath in and sigh it out. Start to breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And take one more round. at your own pace. And once you finish, just coming to your natural breath. Start to observe any sensations around the body. Observing how your breath feels now. And if you would like to place your right hand onto your belly, left hand by your heart. Taking a few breaths here, just feeling the rise and fall, the beauty of your breath. And bring your hands into prayer by your heart. Bowing your forehead down towards your fingertips in gratitude. I want to thank you for joining me today. And I hope that you will be extra compassionate to yourself during this time. And I understand that this time can be scary for many of us. And that it is scary to sit with our thoughts and emotions. But I hope you remember that it takes courage to love yourself and that you are courageous. And please reach out if you need guidance or support. Thank you. Namaste.